Hey! So, we chose to review Django Unchained for this week's movie review, and we give it a 6 out of 10, which is lower than what we gave for Inglourious Basterds for a couple of reasons.
Yeah. So one of the ones is we talked about how, like, Quentin Tarantino's kind of, like, really violent and gory portrayal of action in both of them. It really stuck out more to us in this one, and we both, like, were talking about how we felt like it was a lot more, like, in your face, a lot more just, like, gruesome and grotesque in general. And one of the reasons we were talking about is, like, is that really because of how this movie was made, or could it partially be because, like, in the other one, we were talking about in class how who's the protagonist, who's the antagonist, and how we kind of, like, identified with the group of Inglourious Basterds who are American, like, going against the like, historical antagonist of the Nazis, and how, like, it kind of makes you, like, root for them, and you might not see it as like,
Evil.
yeah,
acts.
like, it's, like, definitely
killing.
dehumanizing, but it doesn't, like, come off as violent, like, kind of, like, make you gasp. But in this one, when you think about, like, civil rights in, like, the South, and how there's also still, like, a lot of, like, racism in our country, and, like, I don't know, it's just, like, different when we identify, like, because, like, we're white Americans and we know that there are people that act like that. It might, like, come off more, like, to us.
We are wondering if we thought this movie was more gory because it was portrayal of our history, like, our ancestors, like, this is actually something that happened in our past, rather than in Inglourious Basterds, we didn't really identify with the Germans, so, and we didn't really, like, our nation didn't experience the Holocaust like Germany did, so we're wondering if our uneasiness about the use of the N-word in the movie, which was really excessive, and the amount of gore that was in the movie felt more intense to us because we identified more with the topic being addressed rather than the Holocaust. So that was one reason that the movie made us feel a little bit uneasy, but also we noticed a lot of misogynistic tendencies in the movie with the female characters. It seemed to be, like, a lot of damsel in distress, even though Kerry Washington's character, I forgot what her name was, Brunhilde, was a strong woman who kept escaping. She had, like, two lines in the whole movie, and the rest of it was her screaming and not being able to protect herself. And I also noticed that even though she went through all this bad stuff, she came out perfect. She didn't have any, like, the only thing she had on her back was scars. She never came out maimed. She never got hurt in the whole movie. She was the damsel in distress, the one that they were all going after to save.
Yeah. And so we thought, like, that was definitely an archetype that was filled in the movie. And we were trying to figure out, like, it for fitting into the boogeyman, who was the boogeyman, and, like, how the movie fit into there. We definitely saw it could be as, like, a quest or a true love story, as Django is, like, trying to overcome all these obstacles and do, like, the bounty hunting and get to Candyland to save her. But we weren't really sure, is Leonardo DiCaprio's character the boogeyman? I guess maybe it could be, like, I think Samuel L. Jackson's character.
I don't know. There seem to be, like, a lot of boogeymen, but I saw it more as good versus evil. Like, I guess we talked about in class how do you define what good versus evil is if they're both killing each other, but I didn't really see how it fit into the boogeyman archetype, rather than I thought it was more of a true love story. Like, it had a very gory path of getting to the true love, but it was that arc of, like, girl meets boy, girl and boy separate, girl meets saves girl, and in the end they ended up together. So I think it fit into a lot of different archetypes, and we don't think it mainly was the boogeyman story.
Yeah. And then, like, with good versus evil, it really pertains, like, what we talked about in class before about, like, is it really redemption or punishment? And I think at the end of class, like, Dr. Hammer mentioned about, like, some of the social commentary of Inglourious Basterds is that, like, in certain circumstances, people are capable of, like, all sorts of violence. And I feel like that's, like, definitely carried through in this one.
Yeah.
How he shoots everyone.
Yeah. And we also noticed that in both movies there was quite a lack of character development. Like, while there was action throughout the movie and while there was fighting and, like, conflict, there wasn't much growth in the characters. The way they began is the way they ended. except for like being dead, but like their journey never changed them as people.
Yeah.
So we thought it was still a good movie, but it definitely was lacking a lot of the characteristics of what we qualify as a good movie.
Yeah. Yay.
All right, bye.